Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mail Right Show. Today's episode number is 275, and we are lucky enough to have Tim Stout with us today. Tim is an unbelievable human. We feel fortunate to have him. He's a retired MMA fighter. He has been running a successful team since 2014. He is, you know what, with Tim, why don't you share with our audience exactly who you are? I'll let you sing your own praises.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. I am a retired MMA fighter. I had 26 professional fights. I retired about 8 years ago and decided to get into real estate. I've grew, significantly. I have a team in South Atlanta, Newman, Georgia. I have about 19 team members. Last year, we sold 300 houses. And I have a 4-person team in East Tennessee where we sold 103 houses. So it's been a growing process. Started with an individual agent and just built the team from the ground up as far as administration, from buyer specialist to listing specialist, and that transformed me into what I am now.
Wonderful. So before we start throwing you some questions, Tim, I would like to introduce the audience, for those of you who have not tuned into the show before, to my amazing co-host, Jonathan Denwood, the founder of Mail Right, which is a Facebook/website marketing system, one of a number of companies that John runs concurrently. And he's
only two.
I'm trying to build you up, man. Will you just let me do it? Jesus. Don't pop your own balloon. Marketing 101. So anyway, and actually that's not true. You have a real estate investment business, technically speaking. So here we go. So anyway, with all those things, here's my my amazing co-host, John. Why don't you?
Oh, thanks, Robert. Yes, and like I say, if you're interested in Mail Right, go over to the Mail Right website. We've got some amazing changes that are going to be happening in the next few weeks. I'll be discussing that probably at the beginning of February. And just go over, have a look at it. Got any questions, you can contact me through the website. I'm always available for a chat.
And my name is Robert Newman. I'm your intrepid speaker, not the host, but your speaker, the guy driving the format of the show today. And I am an SEO specialist that has been specializing in real estate for 14 years. I also have a website, inboundrem.com, and I give a lot of free information there about systems and all sorts of cool shit. So Tim, why don't you, I'm going to circle back around to you. And the first question that I asked Tim, ladies and gentlemen who are listening, is that I noticed when I was checking his profile that, he started off with Remax, and then he moved into working with Keller Williams, and then he moved into working with Compass. And we get a lot of questions, John and I do, throughout the course of our days about different brokerages and why people work with them. And I was just curious, Tim, about why you made a big, I think the move would have been bigger when you moved from Keller Williams to Compass, because by that time you probably had a team. Is that right?
Yes, had a super successful team, closing about 250 deals. It was a big deal for us because we were one of the top teams in the area. We were the top team in the area, and I enjoyed my time at Keller Williams, and it helped me grow my team. But the move there was nothing personal. The move was definitely I needed a different platform to help grow me and to help grow my business and to give me an angle that I haven't had access to, and Compass provided that angle. And it's been a good move. I mean, we've been there for 2 years.
Okay, so which begs the question. I mean, and I really want to drill into this for a little bit. What was the angle? What did you looked at them and you said, you have stuff I need that I'm not getting at Keller? What were those things that you were looking at?
Well, I mean, you've heard the past other brokerages state that they are a technology-based business, and I have heard that in the past, but I haven't seen that.
Okay.
From what I'm saying. Compass showed me that, and Compass, the first day, like one of my biggest things is I always want to be in the room. It's like, who can put me in the room with someone who's doing more business than I am? Who can put me in the room with someone who can grow me? And Compass, just during the recruiting process, was able to get me in the room full of really, really big hitters, people who who were outperforming me, which not that I'm some big shot, but 400 deals in a year is hard to do. So they were able to get me in the room with specialists and people who were doing more. And if they wasn't doing more, they were a specialist in something that could really assist me. So the fact that I could get in front of and with people who could accelerate my business, that was the big thing.
Which begs the question. Now you've been in the room, you've been there for 2 years, you got in that room with those people, and I'm assuming that you probably still have access to them or you wouldn't be mentioning it. So has that really accelerated your business? That was the plan. Did the plan mature the way you thought it would?
Yeah, I mean, this year I did 300 deals this year in my home base of Newman, and add another 103 for Tennessee. And I was out of sales last year. Like I manage and market. That's my job, manage and coach. I coach the team. I manage the team. I'm over the marketing. So to be able to do that many deals and to step out of the business, I would say that is a huge improvement.
Amazing. All right. So John, I have plenty of other questions, but I know that you do too. You were the one who reached out to Tim in the first place. So why don't you hit him with something?
Quick question.
Yeah.
So Tim, like you say, you just kind of slightly divorce yourself when you're around the leadership and marketing. So when it comes to marketing, in 2020, what have been the most successful strategies and platforms that you've been using to achieve the amazing growth that you've managed to do, you and your team?
It's been a combination. We are a big advocate of tracking everything. So we try different lead sources, but we track it. We know where every lead has come from, who nurtured the lead, where the lead went, how long it took to convert. So some of the big lead sources that helped us was our main one are paid leads, social media marketing. And this year we got into more retargeting and pixels and a lot of things like that, which have helped. But I would say paid lead, social media, and our SOI, that are our top three.
So you got a lot of things there. So you said paid leads. Can you give a bit more information about that?
Zillow.com, realtor.com, and regular like Google AdWords to our website.
Right, that's really fun. So, but what has so especially Zillow gets a lot of grief to some extent, and I understand that. But also sometimes I think it's overplayed a bit, so I kind of oscillate. So what's been the price of getting those leads off Zillow as an example? Is it something that you plan to expand, or has the price been a little bit steep and you might be looking at some of the other platforms?
Zillow is changing the way that they did business. Like what we're familiar in, what you're speaking of is the Premier Agent program. When you pay for a certain amount of leads and you get a certain amount of leads. Now Zillow in certain markets are going to a different program that they're only partnering with the top agents, and they give you the leads and you pay a referral fee. So you pay nothing for the lead, you only pay when it closes. But when that happens, you're a partner with Zillow, and you have to abide by their guidelines and jump through their hoops. Which, and I'm like you've heard bad things about Zillow, and Zillow is going to be around for a very, very long time. You can either partner with the giants or try to fight them. And I know a thing or two about fighting, and you don't fight the giants.
That is brilliant, Tim. John, do you have a follow-up? Because
over to you. I just loved that. Over to you.
No, that was amazing. Okay, so you're going to partner with him. You're one of the premier agents. I've heard of the plan. I've heard of the program. I know enough about it. They're trying to get past the fact that a lot of times people are saying that their leads are no good, and then they check them and they've never even been called. So it's this constant frustration between lead provider and lead receiver, right? But let's skip over that for a second. I've noticed that your website, or at least one of them, you probably have a few, is Fayetta and Coweta Homes.com in Atlanta. Is that one of them?
Fayette and Coweta homes. Yes.
Yeah. So you're using Boomtown for that particular website.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. All of my lead sources come through Boomtown. That's just one of the landing pages.
Okay. So if you're talking website or paid advertising or pay per click, as it's more commonly known, you're actually referring to something that you're partnered up with Boomtown for.
Some of it. So I have other companies that work some pay per click stuff also. And
Okay.
I'm judging them next to each other to see who has a better conversion rate and the cheapest cost per click, and then I will double down with that person after I've ran my 6 months.
See, I love everything you're saying is making me so happy. You're making my little heart sing right now. So you're really approaching this as a professional marketer would, which is basically a numbers based test market. You'll test quite a few people, test quite a few things. How is Boomtown stacking up in terms of, have you tested other websites versus Boomtown? Do you know what the conversion rate? Okay.
When I first started my team, I used Sync.
Okay.
And Sync was comparable, but I got away from Sync, went to Follow Up Boss. Really enjoyed Follow Up Boss, but as my team grew and our leads started, we get massive amount of leads from my sphere, from everything that I do and what we pay for. It's a whole lot. So Follow Up Boss is a great CRM, but it's simple, it's elementary. So it's great for individual agents or small teams, in my opinion. I needed something more robust, something that was more automated, something that was going to help my agents convert when they get overwhelmed, which they're going to get overwhelmed. My job is to give them so many leads, they haven't fallen off their plate, so they get to eat all they want. And I knew with that mindset of me feeding them all they could eat, I needed a platform like Boomtown.
Gotcha. Okay, so for that, you're happy with Boomtown. It sounds like you certainly seem like you are. So I guess the question is there, you said it was comparable to Sync. I'm assuming that you mean numerically, like you ran the numbers, you did 10,000 leads through each system, and numerically they came out to be about the same. Is that right?
Probably not as much data when I was with Sync as I do now, so it wouldn't be fair for me to answer that correctly. But They do the same things as far as, they're both lead generation. They both have lead capture, and they both put them on drip campaigns. A very, very similar platform. I'm not sure about the results.
Gotcha. Okay. Beautiful. So interesting. I'm formulating my next question. I think there's something else I want to ask about Boomtown, but I'm struggling to figure out what it is. John, do you have something?
Yeah, I have one more question, and we have to go for a break because I want to delve in. Let Robert, because you just thrown a load of information at us, Tim. Because a lot of the people we get aren't as focused. And I think you get your focus from your background, from your sport background. And because Tim has a background as an MMA fighter and a successful one, do you think some of your attitude about how you run your real estate business comes from your sport background?
Absolutely. It's when I was fighting, I had a very, very simple approach. I teach very simple. I teach in principles. So and I do the same thing with my business. I have, different sections of my business. I run the different sections different or have different people in that. So, and mindset, one thing that fighting taught me is that I didn't have to be the smartest. I just had to be the hardest worker. And I bring that into my businesses, my real estate, is I really try to focus on working harder than everybody. And a lot of that is working harder on educating myself. I want to, I read 50 to 60 books a year. I do tens of thousands of dollars a year in trainings and coaches. And I try to educate myself because in fighting, you have multiple coaches. I had a boxing coach, a kickboxing coach, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and MMA, and nutritionist and strength and conditioning. And I have multiple coaches in my business too. So, and I have multiple mentors. And you have to surround yourself with the people you want to become because you're only as good as the 5 people you surround yourself with. And if you're surrounding yourself with trash, you're going to become it. Just like fighting. If I get a bunch of bums to spar with, I'm going to feel like the king of the world until I run across somebody who's just going to beat the brakes off of me. So.
Well, I did mention that about because you might be surprised, listeners and viewers. I know my co-host was literally fell off the chair. I was an amateur boxer myself until 18, 19 years of age, which was a long time ago. But I used to box for the West Ham Boxing Club in London. And I was describing my last fight, which is exactly what Tim's just said. I had a load of easy fights until my last fight, where I literally almost got my head knocked off my shoulders. We're going to go for a break now. We'll be back in a few moments, folks.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Mailrite Show. It's episode 275. We're here with the incomparable, amazing Tim Stout. I'm doing a little bit of boxing. My really shitty like boxing introduction. But anyway, we're here with Tim. He's been an amazing interview so far. We've been talking about the systems that he's been using to grow his real estate team, the fact that his mindset, his approach to his business has been influenced by his professional sporting career. Which I may be kind of using the wrong analogies there. But anyway, having said all that, John, were you still in the midst of the question, or should I?
No, let's go over to you, because I know you've had a few minutes to think about your follow-through question.
Well, actually, I'm gonna move off it. All the questions that I have would be so deeply Boomtown specific. It would feel like we were doing a show.
So shall we go down how Tim motivates his team? Because it's an amazing story what he's achieved in quite a short time period, isn't it?
Right. So in a number, let's wind that up the right way. So since 2014, you get into real estate, and in 4 short years, you're already on track to build a huge team. You have 20 team members. You've sold between 2 offices over 400 homes in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Tell us a little bit about how you do your team leadership and team management.
Okay. Just like with like I said earlier before the break, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. I mean, one reason I succeed at a high level is my support system at home. My wife's super supportive, and that helps me through every day. I come through, I'm supportive, I'm motivated. I come to work, and one of my first hires was my director of operations now, and she is the detailed person. I'm not the detailed person. I'm the guy who's going to stay 30,000 foot. I know where everything is and where it's going, but I'm not in the weeds dealing with it. She's the person who crawls in the weeds and deals with it, and that's really helped helped me with that part of the growth, because I know one of the biggest things about business is not knowing where you're strong. It's knowing where you're weak. If you're not knowing where you're weak, you're going to fall. Like, it's knowing your weakness is even better than knowing your strengths. And I definitely hire around my weaknesses. And that's a big part of how my team is successful. Like, I hire motivated, I hire loyal, and I hire people with great work ethics.
So just case study. So you case study your director of operations. She's been with you since the beginning. I have something similar for my business, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Even though my whole business is supposed to be about graphs and charts, I don't like them. So I got somebody else that does that part of the business. I like data. I love data. I'm in love with data. I just don't like doing the graphs and charts for clients and organizing it in certain ways. So give us another case study. Are you still doing the hiring and training of your own salespeople, or do you now have a resource in place that does that for you? Let's start there.
I still do a lot of the hiring. Late last year, I've got a lady who come onto the team. She is very caring. She's very motherly. She's very skilled. And I'm like, I need you to help me train the agents. And she does that. She brings them onto the onboard, and we take them through a 3-week boot camp, which trains them through all the scripts, who we are as a team, what we stand for, what we do not stand for, and just how to be a great agent. And she gets them in production. And once they're past that in production in those 3 weeks, I have another agent who is our agent success manager who picks them up, and his job is to ensure that they succeed. And he also helps me hire, but I do a lot of the hiring, probably the majority of it.
Okay. So you have a couple people that help you once the people are hired, but you're still picking the talent. Now, you said earlier in the show, and for those of you who may be catching us, and I noticed that our live audience is ticking up a little bit here. So those of us who are tuning in right now, Tim said earlier that I'm blanking out here for a second. Said earlier that I don't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, Tim, so in terms of next stages, like you're growing the business past this stage that you're at now, 20 people, you're still doing most of the hiring. You've gotten to where you are. What I want to know is, what are you going to do? What's going to take you from 20 to 50? Like, is that your goal? Are you going to go even bigger? And if so, how do you anticipate that you're going to get there?
Okay. Great question. I continue to grow as long as I'm growing with the right people. Jonathan asked a question earlier about motivation. It's like, my motivation is non-existent. You hire people who are motivated, and then you support them, and then motivation comes from it. Like, I can't hire someone who is not motivated and then say some magic words, give them the old Ric Flair speech, now they're motivated. It doesn't work that way, that I found. So I hire people who are motivated, who wants more out of life, but they need a pathway on how to get there. I have the pathway, and that's the people I partner with. And I will continue to partner with people like that until I get to 50 agents. If I have 50 agents who can benefit from me as much as I can benefit from them. I never want a one-sided relationship, and I want to be able to grow people, but I want people who also want to grow the team itself, because the team is ours. The team is not mine. And the more that I hire, the better our team does, because the average agent does like 8 deals a year. And
sure,
I have people who come on with, you have to close 24 deals a year to be on my team. Like, that is the minimum. And I've had agents do 50 and 60 deals. And because we have the support, because I take the part that's hard out of real estate, the hard part, the part that stinks that nobody wants to do, and I hire administration to do that. And so it makes it easier for the agent. So I'll continue to hire good agents, word of mouth. 90% of the agents, they reach out to me. And most of them are new agents, and I love new agents because new agents don't have bad habits. And so I can train them the way that I want to. But every now and then we get a more experienced agent who understands what they're doing is not going to get them the result they want. And they know that I have the recipe to get them where they want. Because, of course, money is the lead driver for most people that are motivated.
Right.
But once you have it, time is. So I'm able to teach you how to make a lot of money, but I'm also here to teach you how to get your time back, and how to leverage that so you can close the most, but not be drove crazy doing it.
So, okay. So that's, John, go ahead.
Well, that's a really great point you've made, Tim, because burnout is a big problem, isn't it, for medium to top performers in this industry, isn't it? Absolutely. Because they can only run hot so hard. So you get a lot of people, their ambition is like to sell 30 to 50 plus, but after like 2 to 3 years of that, they're gone, aren't they? They're just burnt out. I've seen it. So
my real estate coach helps me with one of my coaches. He calls it sprint rest. So one thing that helps a lot of my guys who want to do 40, 50 deals a year is we give them a target, and you run as hard as you can. But the second you hit that target, like when you hit that target, you have to take a week off because you hit your goal. You come back. Because one thing, when you're on vacation on my team, all you got to do is call me and be like, hey, Tim, I've got 2 clients that need to see houses. And we make sure they get to see houses. And it's still their clients, but we're taking care of them because Joe, the other agent's going to take a vacation too, and they're going to need that person to help them. So we help each other. So the run sprint, if you can see the finish line, the reason a marathon sucks to do is because you can't see the finish line until you're multi-miles in. But you can run a 100-yard dash no matter how out of shape you are, because you can see the finish line. And if they can see a finish line, even though they're shorter spurts, it allows them to sprint, and then they stop. They can catch their breath. They can go on a week's vacation because they've made some really good money. They come back feeling refreshed, not burn out, and then they hit it running again. So even though they're taking 4 or 5 weeks off throughout the year, they're able to run. They never hit that stride where they just start slowing down and walking because they're so tired and burnt out, and they've not seen their kids or their husband or wife in a month. So it allows them to see the finish line more often, and I think that keeps them from burning out a lot.
So you started on your own. So what was the process? What was the process for the first year then? What was your end result after 1 year in the industry? And did you meet your target then, or was it the second year when you got a little bit of experience? Maybe, if you don't mind, can you give a description what those first 1 year, 18 months was like?
Absolutely. When I first got into real estate, I got into I'm pretty sure it was like August. It was a little over halfway through the year. And I remember walking through the neighborhood with my wife, and she's like, well, what are you going to do with real estate? Because I was running my gym, just the gym I still have. I was managing it. I was the head coach, loved it. And that's what I was going to do forever. But I was like, I could sell one house a month, and we could have some money to invest in and save, and we could probably go on vacation every now and then. And that was my goal. And the first 5-6 months in real estate, I'd sold, my first year was 16. And I was like, okay.
Can you stop there? Did you say you sold 16 houses?
Yeah.
You're very blasé about that. How can I just ask? Robert's smiling, but can I ask you how the hell did you manage to achieve that?
Everybody knew that I was selling houses. Everybody knew that I wanted clients. I was calling. I hired a coach really quick because I knew to succeed in anything you needed a coach. I mean, Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods have a coach, so why wouldn't Tim Stout, the realtor, have a coach? And they gave me a guideline, and I was a very good athlete, not because I had my own ideas, because I listened to other people's. So my coach was like, we need to do this, 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 and this. And I did this, 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 and this, and it just happened. And I was able to, the first full year was I think my first full year was nearly 40 transactions. And it was just, but I was working 16, 17 hours a day, which I didn't care. I had a goal, and not hitting that goal was not an option.
I don't know what to say about this. I'm going to put it over to Robert again. Going to get your reaction, Robert.
Sure. I'm going to say the same thing to Tim that I say to my clients. So I've been doing this for 14 years, just like you. I built a business from nothing, no investors, no anything, just my own reputation, sweat equity, worked for other people for 10 of those 15 years while building the framework for this business. Same thing as you. Goals, ambition, drive, and more importantly than all of that, just the discipline to wake up in the morning and do the thing that that one thing that is the thing you need to do. But here's the thing that I tell my current clients, the people that I talk to on the phone, who are all basically business owners, just like you, just like me, take real estate out of it, they're business owners. What I bring to the table that's more valuable than the actual service that I provide is the insight on what you should be doing with your business to get you to the next step. Because my clients include people at your level, people way above your level, people way below your level, like all these different stages of their career. But everybody typically wants to be whatever that next level is, right? You do, everybody does. I think the most valuable part of my service is the constant advice that I give. Like the fact that I keep telling them what the next step is going to be. And what you're saying, or what I'm hearing you say, is that you're attributing at least some of your success to the fact that you've had a coach telling you what to do, and you've gone out and done what they told you to do. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I will succeed at anything I do because I am a very, very hard worker. I will succeed much faster, much more efficient, much more profitable because of a coach and the coaches I have. And like I said, I've had my main coach for nearly 8 years, like since I've been in the business, and he's there every day if I need him. Every call, I get direction. It doesn't, no matter how good I get, we shift. When I master marketing, we shift on speaking. When I shift on speaking, we shift to presentation. It's like there's always a next level to everything. And he's been able to make sure that I'm in direction of where I need to be. Coaches are everybody can succeed, but very few people succeed alone.
Gotcha. So we're hitting the end of this show. John, did we talk to Tim about doing some bonus content?
Yeah, if Tim doesn't mind, we're going to end the podcast part of the show. Hopefully Tim can stay on. He looks like he's up for it, which you'll be able to watch the whole interview plus the bonus content on the Mel Wright YouTube channel. So you do want to go over there and put into YouTube search Mel Wright and subscribe to the channel and click the bell, and you'll be told when the next episode comes up. Over to you, Robert.
All right. So without any further ado, Tim, we're going to wrap up this part of the podcast. And for those that are interested, they will tune in to 10 extra minutes of content. For those people that are thinking that they'd like to tune in, the question that I'm going to steer Tim in is I want to talk to him a little bit about social media and the role that has played specifically in his business's growth. So, Tim, if people wanted to learn more about you, or maybe if they're an agent in the Atlanta area and they want to reach out to you and find out what it takes to be part of your team, how would they reach you?
Social media would be the best way at the Tim Stout. That's Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, lovely. And John, if somebody was a newer agent and looking for a less expensive lead generation system with a really hands-on approach, how would people reach you?
Oh, it's really simple. Just go to the Mel Wright website. It's got my phone number. You can contact me through email. You can even book a free session where we can discuss your marketing needs and we can decide if Mel Wright's a good fit for you. So just go to the Mel Wright website. And
for those of you who are listening, I've made this mistake so many times myself. I'm gonna help John out. It's Mail-Wright, not Mail Right. I have put in the wrong URL so many times, I can't. It's beyond counting at this point. And for those of you who might be interested in learning a little bit more, like a deep dive analysis from yours truly on some of the real estate marketing systems, if you're thinking about SEO as part of your real estate lead generation, and you want to talk to probably one of the world's best in that particular subject matter, you can go to inboundrem.com and learn more about me, or sign up for my contact form, and I'd be happy to reach out to you. Thank you for tuning in for this part of the podcast, and we'll catch you next time at episode 276 when we'll have another great guest or an internal show. Goodbye. All right. 3. All right. Welcome back. For those of you who've hung in there with us, we are on to the bonus content, which will be on the YouTube channel. And we're still here with Tim Stout. And what we're going to talk about this particular time is I want to ask you some questions about social media. Now, we found you, Tim, on YouTube. So you're on social media. You're doing stuff on social media. Can you give us a 10,000 foot view of what your opinion is about leveraging that for your real estate business?
I think to be able to grow and scale social media has to be maybe not the biggest priority, but a priority in your business, 100%.
Okay. And we've obviously found you on YouTube, so we know that you're active there. But what do you think, like if you had to break it down by priority, you're creating content, you're putting it, like, do you prioritize channels? How do you approach your strategy?
Well, the platforms that I'm on, I do something for everything. So it's probably right now, because my demographic of people buying properties are around 35. And that is definitely a Facebook, getting into Instagram as the next few years come through. So Facebook is my primary one. And I do my long form videos on Facebook. I do my long form videos on Instagram, my long form videos on YouTube, but then I also shorten them for Facebook and Instagram. But definitely right now, Facebook is where it's at for me. But in the next 5 years, same question is probably going to be Instagram, because my clientele of the buying age will be getting into the Instagram, I think.
I got you. Okay. And for those of you who haven't looked, if you want to see a great example of what he's talking about, I strongly suggest that you go to his Facebook page at the Tim Stout. I just did the search that he recommended, There's lots of different branding that you've done on here, everything from casual presentations, it looks like, to more formalized stuff. You've also obviously used some editing on your videos. Are you doing that yourself? Do you have a service? Like, you've gotten into both casual and professional video production from what I can see here. So can you give us a little bit of insight about the two different methods of producing content and like what your thoughts are on them?
Yes, my weekly content I do and I edit up until 2 weeks ago. Now I've got a full-time guy on staff that does my content and editing. But my weekly content is myself. And then for the big listings, for the Foodie Fridays, for the big event videos that I'm doing, I hire Gig Bag Media out of Atlanta, and they come in and do a full production, mic up, lights, the whole gambit for those, because it does you no good to half-ass a video. Like, if you're getting it out there for people to see, you need to go through the steps to make it make somebody want to see it. Because you could rush it and nobody wants to see it. You could have bad audio, bad light, bad video. Nobody wants to see it. Like, I've got to do everything in my power to make you to want to watch all 3 minutes of that video, and that starts with production.
All right. I have some differing thoughts on that, but that's okay. John, why don't you toss in here?
I was thinking about when you were talking about your early days when you were starting. You had the gym, and then looking back, did it help that? I get the impression that you're well known in the community, that I'm surmising this, that you're, through the gym and being your fighting background, you're well known. So did that really help you get started in real estate, or did that in some ways was a slight hurdle? Because I could also see people saying, well, he runs a gym, why is he trying to sell property? I'm just wondering, reflecting back, or was it a mixture of the two, Tim?
It in the beginning, it hurt me.
All right.
Because, well, first of all, I mean, when I told you I was selling like those, like nearly 40, 50 houses, I was working at the gym from 4 to 9 every night. Like, all that was done before 4. And everybody who knew me, they knew I was punched in the head for the last 15 years. Like, that is not a selling proposition. Hey, pick me. I've been beat to death multiple times and I can sell your house. So that didn't help. But once I have proven success, like, people are like, oh, you're the fighter. You're the realtor fighter. So now it's exciting for them because I've proven success. I'm not trying to prove it. I've proven it. And but in the beginning, it was rough. It's like, oh, I think I've seen you before. Like, you're the guy who runs the gym. So when you're like any other thing besides the guy who sells real estate, it's not a positive repercussion.
Well, I just asked that, actually.
That's a great question, because it's 100% accurate.
Well, I think that. So I've looked through a lot of your content, and so I have a comment and a thought. I've always appreciated and I'm saying this to the audience. I'm directing it at you, Tim, but I'm also saying it for our audience. Listen, I've always appreciated a good marketing message, and you have some really cute ones on here. Like, you've got, like, I've just been taking a quick look, and you've got one where you're like, I'm running for office, and then it's like, hey, I'm running for your realtor. You've got some eye-catching stuff on here. I've always been a big proponent, Tim, and I just want to get this out there, that if you have a good enough piece of information, that it can just be you and a camera. Now, the information would have to be hyper specific, and what you're doing is broader. You're branding an agency, really. And so I think that for branding an agency, you got to go bigger in your ideas. Do you have some thoughts of your own? If you have a contrarian thought to that, this is the moment for us to discuss it.
No, I agree with you. There's a difference in content. There's a difference in marketing. You market content, but when I market bigger, more professionally. But content, like, I remember my real estate coach, David Kesey, he says I'm the selfie realtor, because I remember one time I had, like, the first time I ever had like 25 pending, and that was a big deal at that time. And him saying, I want you to go out in front of every house and tell the story. So I'm like, hey, this is Tim with Tim Stout and Associates. And I did the story in front of everybody. Like, this is how we got the house sold. This is what we did. And I did that every day for like 25 days. And that content got just as much engagement as the I'm running for your realtor, and I run around, shoot guns, and drive my truck around, and that stuff works. And I agree. If it's content is good content. I don't think you have to have professional gear, because I didn't have it. I bought $5,000 worth of camera equipment to get confused on how to work it, and then I do the camera or the phone again for the next 3 years, and then I'm like, I should probably figure that out. And I do videos 3 to 5 times a week, so it's much easier from the phone.
Yeah.
Tim, this has been amazing, man.
I don't know what to say, Tim. You're an animal. You really are a force of nature, mate. I knew this was going to be an interesting discussion. My God, you really are an animal. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
Like a koala, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. Dear, oh dear.
When we have really great shows and we meet with amazing guests who seem like they're gonna be on a continuous arc, we do occasionally plant the idea that we'd like that guest to come back. So I think maybe 6 months to a year from now, if you're up for it, we'd love to talk to you again, find out whatever the last 6 months or a year lessons have taught you and where you're at with your business. If you're down for it.
Absolutely, I've really enjoyed this. This format of you guys asking the questions and tag teaming back and forth. I've really enjoyed that.
That's great.
It's been amazing for us, man. You've been an incredible guest, John. I know I just took up a little of your steam there.
No. Let's end the show. We've got another great guest next week, and I think anybody would get great value listening to this. If you need some motivation, you certainly get it from listening to this particular episode, won't you, Robert?
Absolutely. So once again, John and I, who put a lot of work into this, more John than me, and actually Tim as well, we would all appreciate it if you'd simply mash the thumbs up button on the YouTube channel. And all three of us will be distributing this through our channel. So if you hear about us in some other way, please make sure that you drop us a comment and tell us what you thought of the work. We'd all appreciate it.
That's great. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.